Awesome, thanks, Margo. All right, Ryan Kennedy, Operation Shine America Homeless Youth Ambassador and former resident of Silver Space.
Yay!
Yay.
I'm reminded of an anti-flag song lyric that really is fitting right now. Turncoat, killers, liar, thief, protection with the protection of the law, which pretty much is what this is. First time I was homeless was probably a 6-month time period when I was 16, 17 years old. I was kicked out of a third-grade boarding school because I messed up and I couldn't find my way back to Connecticut. So I went to Seattle, Portland, Vancouver, and then second bout of homelessness was Memorial Day weekend of 2009. And that was when I entered into concrete, real homelessness. I was just pretty much after it was before my 21st birthday. I had gotten back from a unsuccessful semester at UMaine Farmington that winter. I had come out to my family as transgender my junior year of high school, and my mom was okay with it until it became a reality. And when I said the words physical transition and hormones, her exact words were, you're fine to do that, you just can't live here. And so we got in a big major fight. I left the house, walked down the street to my friend Joey's house, and they let me stay there for a while. I chose to stay there for the weekend, just enough to get resources together in the city. And then I hopped on the Metro North and ended up at Silver's Place on the Sunday, actually Memorial Day weekend. And that's when I started my homelessness in New York City. And I've gone through pretty much most of the shelters and drop-ins, Silver's Place, which I will always hold this place in my heart because Silver's Place was my first actual home. It's the start of the gay family. Every single gay family originates from Silver's Place and grows into this major cosmic thing where right now, one of my uncles is also my brother and also my child, apparently. So you're never really sure which family is what to you because it changes constantly. Like, for instance, I have 5 gay children. I am the father to 2 of them and the mother to 3 of them. It's just so confusing. And it's just impossible. But it's a good thing because it creates our own family. We have a support network. We have family. We have parents, uncles, grandparents, nephews, nieces, cousins, brothers, sisters, kids. And it creates your own family, makes it not so alone. And I remember being at Silver's Place and being totally freaked out by all the voguing that was going on because I had no idea what the hell I was seeing. I came from Connecticut, okay? I came from the Greenwich-Stanford area. And I found myself amongst Silver's Place. And that's where I grew to not like Lady Gaga so much after hearing Paparazzi and Bad Romance 24/7 for 3 months. Okay, I like her now because they're born this way. But anyway, to get back to the actual purpose of why I'm here, I've been through Silver's Place, Trinity Place, Silver's Place again, Trinity Place, Covenant House, Streetworks Overnight, Streetworks Loft, Silver's Place again, the streets, train, streets, abandoned building, streets, Silver's Place. And back in February, I moved into a housing finally. And I got that through the door and through Common Ground. And if I had not come to the door, which is a big drop-in center in New York City, and it's pretty much what got me from being on the street and addicted to drugs. I have a past history throughout most of my life with drugs and alcohol addiction and abuse. And when I became homeless, I relapsed again. And without the door, I wouldn't really have anything I have today. And this is why funding is so imperative, because it saves lives. Those street outreach and drop-ins are between life and death for so many youth, especially if they're queer. Because oftentimes queer youth cannot really access Covenant House or Turning Point or other shelters that just really aren't mindful. The what's the word? The difference of Streetworks project is that it's technically not a queer shelter or a queer drop-in, but they're really inclusive. And that's the difference between Streetworks and Covenant House, that Streetworks is accepting of all. And coming from an environment where I was made fun of most of my life for a stutter, Tourette's, being a really butch-ass female, and then being made fun of my family for being really masculine as a girl, and then realizing I'm trans, and even more so now that I realize that I'm a gay trans man. So another hoop to jump through, another total mind-blowing experience for my family. Wow, it's really hard, I guess. But when I got off the streets, that's when the real work started, because all of what I went through on the street, I started to process what I went through and really deal with what I went through. Deal with the dehumanization I experienced, the feeling of being invisible, having to compromise some of my morals in order to survive. And by that I mean survival sex, and it really is survival sex. It's not a choice. You become desperate enough and hungry enough for days on end, and you're like, okay, drop-ins are closed now because there's no lack of funding. No dumps open on the weekend now. What am I going to do? I have no money for food. Street hours didn't get here until what, midnight? Or you miss the street outlet spot and you're screwed. What do? You're outside. Okay, can't go to Celebrity's Place because they're full, or other reasons. Can't go to Covenant House. What am I going to do tonight? Go to a bar, stand outside and find someone. Then you go home with that person. And that is a soul-crushing and soul-killing act and experience. And having to process what I went through on the street, because when you're actually on the street, you can't process that shit and deal with it, excuse my language, because you're concentrating on surviving the day. You're concentrating on how you're going to eat that day, where you're going to sleep that night, and how you're going to survive. But once you get off the streets, you have time to process that stuff. And they don't call it the 2-month crazies for nothing, because the 2-month period when you're first off the streets is hell. You know, I got my apartment, I was doing okay, I was happy, I was like, yes, I have a place I can call home. I have a key to a door that is mine. I have a bathroom that I have a shower and a bath. So I can take a shower and a bath at the same time if I chose to. And I have done that twice. I will say that I have done that. And more importantly, it was mine. I had to share it with 35 people. Didn't have to take a shower in the Apple Store bathroom using soap, water, and napkins. You know, I had access to a bed. And that's something that is so primitive and so mundane, but yet it's something that is most of the time for me inaccessible when I was on the street. Sylvia's Place, and the Door, Streetworks, Safe Space, Project Soul, HMI, Patrick Bar Institute, Ali Fournier Center, Turning Point, Green Chimneys, Inwood House, Rachel's Place, and for a period of time, Carmen's Place, which was a trans shelter up in Queens that got closed down. And of course, New Alternatives for Homeless LGBT Youth. All of those programs, I probably missed one or two, there's so many. All of those places save lives every single day. And without this funding, we're all screwed who are on the street. Even those of us who've gotten off the street, because the funding that funds my housing, supportive housing, may be affected as well. Because technically it's under the RHY budget, my side of the housing, because I'm shelter care plus. I'm not foster care. And so it's a scary thought to potentially be back on the streets with no help whatsoever. Goodbye street outreach, goodbye drop-ins, goodbye youth shelters. It's hard enough when you turn 21 because now there's nothing. If you're 21 and you're straight, there is nothing for you for shelter. If you're lucky enough to be queer, you got Ali Fournier Center and Sylvia's Place and Trinity Place. If you're straight, good riddance, you're screwed. So for the first time, it's actually a good thing to be queer when you're over 21 and homeless. Then you have options. Or you could claim gay and then sleep at Sylvia's Place, but you get found out eventually and you have to leave.
Yeah. I tried that. They said they could tell I was straight.
Yeah. Yeah, they have they get really good straight arm, which is at times a really good thing because it's technically only for GLBTs, and if you're straight living there, then you're taking up the cot or the air mattress or the sleeping pad of someone who's queer and then having their options. And with that, I've rambled on long enough, so I'm going to hush up and let someone else speak. Thanks for listening. I love you too. I love you too.